save money because if they take in a car that's already disabled, they don't have to pay to disable it.
That's right, but that isn't the point. They wanted to get running cars off the road that were... Okay, this was the left's idea to get people out of gas guzzlers
into green cars.
But what they did was they got cars that weren't running to begin with, took them in, and then basically circumnavigated the rules on the... They didn't buy American for the most part, and they did buy, they did buy the cheap versions of the powerful 8-cylinder cars that we're selling over here. They get, okay, so they don't get the 30-some miles per gallon. The Democrats thought everybody would move because everyone wants to go green. These people will go out and buy Priuses and other cars. No.
And remember, it's the law of unintended consequences, because even when the CEO, I think the founder CEO of AutoNation was there to speak for Racing for Green. He said that even though most of the people, and I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, it's like most of the people will consider a green car. It's only like 5%. Why should you do it? I mean,
and they said this was about 3 o'clock in the morning. They were just having a rolling ball on all the network news things because this is when the people were on that basically don't give a damn if they get fired. So, well, because if they're on at 3 o'clock in the morning, that means that's the, basically you are not on after midnight unless you're on somebody's bad side in the broadcast business. The guys that are on before 12 o'clock have got...
Because they're expecting nobody's watching it. You might as well just be exercising your jaw.
Yeah, so... Yeah. Let's see, what they were talking about was the fact that the people that would buy green don't need the $4,500 rebate.
Oh, yeah. Because the green cars are more expensive to start with.
That's right. They don't need the $4,500 because they know that the car... These are the first, the people that are first in line that are always going to get something.
Well, and part of it is they're buying the car because it's green.
Yeah.
That's why the Toyota Priuses were popular, because if you had a Prius, it was unique and they knew that you were green because you're making a statement because you bought a Prius.
Yeah, but we won't tell you the name of an individual. He is very green. He does own a green automobile, and then you ask him, well, what do you do when you want to get out, when you have to go on a long trip? Because that guy does like to go hunting and fishing and all that stuff. He said, well, I get into my SUV.
Of course.
I get into my SUV, and it's not green, folks. I get into my SUV, but he's one of those. He's a nice guy. I mean, he's probably I admire him more than I do almost all the green people. He's
probably one of the greenest people.
Yeah. Him I admire because he does live what he says. But what do you do when you want to go, on a trip? I get into the SUV because it's bigger, safer, more comfortable. That basically
it's bigger, safer, more comfortable.
Yeah.
But part of it is he has multiple cars.
Yeah, they have multiple cars because they can afford it. So, it didn't take a genius to figure out. They had the German experiment to look at that shows the people went foreign and they went for the versions. They went to a greener version of exactly what they had before, but it still wasn't what they wanted. Germany wanted them into a hybrid car. Mm-hmm. They didn't buy them. They don't like them.
Well, this is one thing I hope, and I know this is not going to be happening, is that I hope they will pay attention to what goes on in other places when they take a look at these things. But I know that's not true because they're not looking at Massachusetts and what happened with healthcare.
Well, Republicans aren't even... Okay, I heard a Republican last night said, this has got to be the most asinine thing. We have a man running for the presidency in 2012 that is the architect of a total disaster, and they're looking at him as a leader. Anybody guess that name is Mitt Romney? Mm-hmm. He said he's basically, they're using his healthcare system
as the model.
As the model, and it's a bigger failure than the Canadian system. Yeah. It didn't work. They're having to raise premiums. It didn't get. It only bumped the people only added 2% more to the insurance rolls. 2% more for all the money that was spent. They've got denial of services. Basically, they're being denied services that they weren't being denied before. When they didn't have insurance. They're being denied it because there isn't any money. But, okay, we're going to try this. We're talking, Ted Stossel is doing a thing on health care. They basically, ABC axed it 2 weeks ago because...
They did?
He said it had absolutely nothing to do with the fact they thought health care was going to be passed. Nothing to do with that. And they said, well, But today they're working on the legislation that's supposed to be on again tonight.
Yeah.
This is Friday night when we're doing this. Friday morning. He said, what are the chances of it getting on tonight if they're still working on health care? And he said, hell freezes over? You know, because it's a negative thing on health care reform. It shows, he said, it shows that, you know, people in a lottery to talk to a doctor.
Well, you know, part of it is, and actually we're going into healthcare from the cars, is that they have people from Canada, doctors, people that have used it, that are saying that it doesn't work.
Yeah, but Canadian doctors have moved to this country to get out of the Canadian system. But it's just the same. You can't run the auto rebate program, but they're going to run health care. And it's all, I mean, it's a nightmare. And they don't care. They said that the polls, the polls went like this morning on today's polling when they asked them, do you think the government can run health care any better than they've run the rebate program? There's only 29% of the people think they can even run the program. And no, 29%. The majority of the people think they can't run it, period.
Well, here's part of it is there's a lot of you that probably do agree with us. There's probably some of you that don't agree with us. But Congress, whether they're listening to you or not,
I don't care.
It's still important to make your feelings and how you feel about it known, because you still, well, actually, you're supposed to vote. It's supposed to count.
Well, it does. You can remove these jackasses from office tomorrow. Because what you could do is when they come home, you serve.
Let them know what you think.
You don't. He's not going to bother. They don't care about what you have to say. You just simply serve them with a recall thing.
Actually, then they'll pay attention to recall notices.
Every Republican and Democrat that is responsible for all of this mess, you serve them with a recall notice. That will get their attention.
Actually, that would get
And I'm also going to tell you one other cute little thing that people don't understand. You can't remove a president from the United States by simply having a recall election in the states that he had a very slim amount of majority in. And if he loses that majority, the Board of Electors then have to change their votes.
Can they do that?
It's not been done, but it's not illegal. I know lawyers that will tell you that it is. There is nothing in the books that says you cannot recall a president of the United States.
Yeah, but everything's in it. Well,
If he, okay, say Obama won very slim majorities in 10 states. And if you take those 10 states that are really pissed at him at the moment, I mean, his polls are like this in those 10 states. You go and hold a recall election. Basically, first of all, the recall election stops him doing what he's doing, dead in his tracks.
oh, that's
And
true.
he has to put his time into that. First, they're going to fight it in the court.
Yeah.
And then the Supreme Court will basically rule. There's nothing in the Constitution that says the president cannot be
Yeah, but isn't
a
the
state.
Supreme Court in his back pocket?
Well, no, the Republicans still control the Supreme Court. The trick was they wouldn't hear the things before. But he has to, if they're going to hold recall elections of a president, they have to make a constitutional thing this time, because if it stops at Sotomayor's court again, you know, and this is where the things are stopping. Remember, they stopped at Sotomayor's court on the legality of the auto transactions.
Okay.
You know, so if it stops there, they're going to say the fix is in and the president. But what happens is the president is in massive trouble now. His party's in trouble.
It's kind of like when a politician runs, they make an allegation. Sometimes it really doesn't matter if the allegation is true or false, because once the allegation is made, all these things go into action.
Yeah, I mean, you can't play. He will play. I guarantee you, if you hold a recall election against this man, he will claim that everybody is racist, and he probably, you know.
Well, actually, see, part of it is I think people are wising up that he's going to pull the race card every time.
Yeah.
I mean, he pulled it when he was running for office.
Yeah, everybody that, okay, that you're not, the reason why they don't like me is because I don't look like any of these people on the bill, on the dollar bill, or on our money. The problem is that nobody brought up the fact that he was, black. No one did except him. Every time he gets into trouble, he brings up the race card, every time. And his constituency, I mean, I really have heard, minority commentators on the left side that says that he is rapidly becoming the president of Black America and nowhere else.
Well, I've also heard that I can't be considered racist because I'm not Caucasian.
That's right, you're not Caucasian.